Good evening, you're watching No Spin. I'm Nidhi Razdan. We are less than 2 years away from the next general election, and make no mistake, the countdown has well and truly begun. Every assembly election between now and May 2024 will be closely watched and scrutinized, beginning later this year with the polls in Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh. Arvind Kejriwal's Aam Aadmi Party is emerging as a challenger to the BJP on the home turf of Narendra Modi and Amit Shah. Kejriwal has made some 10 visits to Gujarat in the last 4 months alone. And he and Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi Manish Sisodia have spent the last couple of days there, making big poll promises and aggressively taking on the BJP. But the bigger question is, how serious is the AAP's challenge in Gujarat? It is the only regional party in the country right now which has power in 2 states, Delhi and Punjab, pitching Kejriwal to a national role straight away. It's also no secret that in Gujarat, the Congress has been in a mess for a while, though in the 2017 assembly polls, they did give the BJP a scare and restricted them to 99 seats. Let's just take a look at some interesting data from Gujarat and how the AAP has made some inroads and why the BJP could be worried about them. Firstly, if you look at AAP's last performance in the assembly elections there, they actually contested all the seats, very super confident, and ended up losing all of them. In fact, all AAP candidates at that time lost their security deposit and didn't even get a sixth of the vote share. But the interesting graphic is the next one. How AAP did in the municipal corporation polls in Gujarat. And if you can see there, they actually got 28% of the vote share in Surat. This is a different graphic. It talks about how the vote share of the BJP actually on the decline as far as the municipal corporation elections are concerned, and AAP making a dent there, about 14% of the vote share. So they've made their mark. They've been able to enter that space, which is what has made the BJP worry in the last couple of years or so. The big challenge for the AAP, however, could actually be in rural areas where the Congress is traditionally stronger. So the AAP has done well, for instance, in Surat in the corporation polls there. But if you look at the Panchayat polls, they only got a 3% vote share compared to 14% in the municipal elections. So that's the overall picture. But there's also now this liquor policy scam that has blown up into this huge story with Manish Sisodia directly in the line of fire. Is that something that could possibly dent the big anti-corruption plank of the Aam Aadmi Party? Joining us first on the program tonight, let me welcome Rohan Gupta, Congress spokesperson, also with us, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party, Jasmine Shah. We'll be going to the rest of the panel shortly. Let me go to you first, Jasmine Shah. How serious, of a challenge is the AAP, you think, for the BJP? Are you a little overconfident given your last performance in Gujarat about how you may do this time?
I think for all practical purposes, this is the first time Aam Aadmi Party is fighting the entire state of Gujarat with a very concerted strategy and with full effort. And, the first time we fought the election in Punjab in 2017, similar questions were asked. The first time we fought in 2013 in Delhi, similar questions were asked. But we know in politics, 1 year, 2 year and 5 years for certain can be a long period. The ground can really shift. And especially if you have a rule like BJP, 27 years in power, the kind of sheer arrogance that they don't even want to listen to the people of Gujarat. There are different stakeholders, youth are unhappy. There are no jobs. Papers are leaking almost every month for government examinations. That was the topic that Mr. Kejriwal addressed in Gujarat today. There is no education, healthcare is broken. So there are a lot of issues that are lying unaddressed for 27 years. And somewhere AAP is hitting a nerve, because after its performance in Delhi, where people know that what AAP says, it has the capability of deliver. Unlike Congress, which cannot today go in any part of the country and say that we can fix your education and healthcare system. In Punjab, we won because people believed in the promise of AAP. People believed that in Kejriwal, they saw a credible leader.
So in a sense,
that is why AAP stands as a
what
threat.
you're saying is that you have a record now to show to people, perhaps unlike in 2017, this time you have something to show them and say, look, this is what we've done in Delhi, this is what we're doing in Punjab, and this is what we can bring to you as well. Interesting
Absolutely.
point. Ashutosh joining us as well. Also, Anil Varsi, former member of parliament and leader of the BJP, is also with us. But let me ask you first, Ashutosh, how do you see AAP's aggressive campaigning in Gujarat? Ashutosh, I mean, is this a party that is actually mounting a serious challenge to the BJP in Gujarat? If nothing else, are they emerging as the principal opposition?
The way Arvind Kejriwal is visiting visiting Gujarat, it shows that they are serious about the state. It's like what Aam Aadmi Party tried to did in 2015, 2016, run up to the Punjab elections. But the issue here is very simple. The issue is, can Aam Aadmi Party repeat what they did in Punjab? My answer will be no. You know why I'm saying so? Because Punjab was ripe for Aam Aadmi Party. In 2014 parliamentary election, when Aam Aadmi Party was routed everywhere, they won 4 parliamentary seats in Punjab unexpectedly. And that's why the build-up to the assembly elections, Aam Aadmi Party was expected to win more than 80 seats, 70 seats. Even all the opinion polls and exit polls are predicting that. But they emerged as second, the principal opposition party. In Gujarat, Aam Aadmi Party has also contested election in 2017. If I remember correctly, I think less than 2%, 0.2% are the 3.3% of votes they got. The problem here is that Aam Aadmi Party is expected to do well in urban centers.
Correct.
And the last time in assembly elections, the BJP could manage to defeat Congress Party for the simple reason because they did very well, brilliantly in 4 cities, that is Rajkot, Ahmedabad, Surat and Vadodara. They got 46 seats out of 99. That's the major worry for the BJP. If Aam Aadmi Party is doing brilliantly are doing well in urban centers, then they are denting they are impacting the BJP vote share. Whereas in urban centers, in the rural centers, Aam Aadmi Party is still way behind.
Ashutosh, would you say that in rural Gujarat, the Congress is still a force, despite the mess that it is organizationally, that it can't be written off?
See, Congress Party has done well in rural centers. Take the example, the parliamentary election 2004, 2009, 2000 and 2014. Even the assembly elections also, the Congress has done better than the BJP in the last election and the election earlier. The problem with the Congress Party is that it has not been able to convert its goodwill into the urban centers, and that's what the strong point of the BJP is. The BJP is worried that if Aam Aadmi Party could get 14% vote, as your municipal corporation poll is showing, that they will affect BJP's vote share.
And the fact is, the Congress did give the BJP a scare in 2017. I remember covering that election. There were so many seats that were actually won by a very narrow margin as well. Rohan Gupta, would you say that that is the challenge for the Congress when it is going into this election now with a much more serious sort of a contest from the Aam Aadmi Party, that you need to go beyond those rural strongholds of yours, but will you be able to dent the urban bases?
See, as your analysis says that Panchayat elections, Aam Aadmi Party got 3% of votes, and municipality they got around 14% of votes. And there are 45 such seats, where Congress is not doing well, which are pure urban seats. So Nidhi, if you compare Gujarat with other states where Aam Aadmi Party, which has acted as B team of BJP, like if you talk about Goa or you talk about Uttarakhand, they have reduced the chances of Congress Party. But if you see Gujarat, I think the dent will be more on BJP. This is my analysis, because Gujarat is predominantly urban state. But let me tell you, Nidhi, one more important thing here is about Congress Party. See, both the parties are indulging in legal politics right now. You see BJP, illegal liquor cant. We have seen that where a lot of people have died. People are very angry on that. And recent expose of Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi on liquor policy in Delhi. So people of Gujarat, this is going to be a turning point. They are trying. This is a fight between bigger bluff master and smaller bluff master, where one is bluffing across the country and the other one is bluffing about the one state. So traditionally, before 5 years, Nidhi, you see any poll, just go to YouTube and see any channel. None of the poll was giving more than 30 seats to Congress Party. At the end of the day, we could win 78 seats. Though the grassroots level workers of Congress Party...
Rohan Gupta, you had somebody like Ahmed Patel around at that time, and the Congress's organizational structure has been further weakened in Gujarat since his passing, especially. I mean, I'm sure you admit that.
So that's what I'm saying. So 27 years, we are not in power as far as Gujarat is concerned. I am from Gujarat. But if you see the worker base, it is very strong at grassroots level. If you see Aam Aadmi Party, they could make some dent in local body elections. But apart from that, I don't feel that they have that kind of mass appeal as far as the rural area is concerned.
But let me ask Mr. Anil Varsi this question. That Anilji, would you concede that at least in urban Gujarat, which is a large chunk of the state, the AAP is a challenge this time for the BJP? क्या आप मानते हैं?
There is no any challenge before the BJP. We are going to constitute once again the government in Gujarat. And so far as the Congress and AAP party is concerned, they are fighting in between, and they may be fighting for second or third place in the election. But so far as the Gujarat is concerned, there are so many developments they are done by the Sri Modi ji while he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat, and when he is the Prime Minister of India, he is doing so many developments in Gujarat, and Gujarat is now in #1 place. So there is no any, I think it's and buts that we are going to lose in Gujarat. We will form government once again.
I'm sure you'll win. And you would have to say that you'd win. But let me ask you that who do you think is your main opposition challenger in Gujarat today? Is it the AAP or is it Congress?
Congress and AAP is fighting in between. They are fighting for second, third place. Whosoever makes more efforts, that will be the result of the election.
Well, Ashutosh, the other question though is how much of this liquor scam issue do you think is going to affect the AAP's image or its prospects in this election? Is it going to make a dent? And we've seen that they keep talking about vendetta by the agencies, etc. But does this hurt the sort of anti-corruption plank a little? Before I take this to Jasmine Shah, let me ask you your analysis.
Zero.
Zero impact.
Zero impact. You know why?
Why?
Two reasons. One, I think today the kind of image which these central agencies are having, nobody believes them. Everybody believes them that whether it is Aam Aadmi Party or the Congress, central agencies are targeting them and they don't touch even the BJP government, the BJP leaders, other BJP parties. The second issue is, I think Aam Aadmi Party has brilliantly turned the table on the BJP. Today, BJP is discussing more about the education policy instead of talking about the liquor policy. They are making an issue out of the New York Times. They are talking about the Rana Pratap. They are talking about that Operation Lotus was not in operational in Delhi. BJP should be talking about the liquor policy. So I think the communication strategy of Aam Aadmi Party and the Arvind Kejriwal has worked brilliantly. But I want to add just another 20 seconds why BJP is worried and why these agencies are really targeting Aam Aadmi Party. Because in 2017 assembly elections, the Aam Aadmi Party, the Congress got 77 seats out of 127 seats. And BJP got only 50 seats. If you remove these four cities, Rajkot, Ahmedabad, Surat and Vadodara, where the BJP got 55 seats, where the Aam Aadmi Party is going to impact or trying to will dent BJP. That is why BJP is now heavily focusing, trying to discredit Aam Aadmi Party. That it is a corrupt party, but there is something which is not going to touch because Aam Aadmi Party's
but let me ask Mr. Varsi about that. Mr. Varsi, have the agencies become so discredited now? अब कोई मानता ही नहीं है जब raid होती है. You know, like if you're an opposition party and you're not raided or have somebody arrested, then people wonder whether there's a deal with the BJP. No.
We are not doing any corruption. That's why we are not being raided.
Okay.
And the agencies are independent bodies and they are working there. Whosoever makes corruption, they have to inquire the things. And if I am right, I could fit that. He has, Mr. Astos has said rightly that while we are talking about the liquor policy, they are talking about the schools, they are talking about the other things.
What a bad thing to talk about. schools and education. Are you saying that's a bad thing?
No, it's good, but it is irrelevant. While we are talking about the liquor policy, we should answer on that only. Why he is not supposed to, our party is not supposed to make the liquor policy against the excise policy.
Okay, but let me ask the AAP about that. But Jasmine Shah, is there a danger though that there'll be again an overconfidence that okay, people will just see this as vendetta and nothing more? On the other hand, it may also resonate with voters. I mean, you've already got Satyendra Jain arrested in one case, now Manish Sisodia under the scanner in another case. You don't think at all that this may puncture some of the anti-corruption claims?
Nidhi, let me actually take Ashutosh's argument further, that this is actually going to help AAP. It is not zero impact, it is a positive impact on AAP. And there are three behaviors or rather three signals in the last just couple of months from BJP that very clearly shows that who are they worried about in Gujarat. First and foremost, the entire debate around Revdi politics. How did it start? It was because Mr. Arvind Kejriwal started going to Gujarat and started promising people that out of the same money that you are paying in terms of taxes, the government could be doing so much more. We will give you free electricity, water, health, education. That is how the Revdi politics debate started. Second was sending this CBI and ED on the finest and some, these are names which are in the larger image of the nation. People know that these are non-corrupt people. Arvind Kejriwal, Manish Sisodia. So suddenly by saying ki CBI case ho gaya, today nobody, the Indian voter is not stupid, I would tell Mr. Varsi. And even if you said that chalo kuch hai, you sent CBI, 31 raids were done, 14 hours of raids at Sisodia's house. Not one piece of evidence you could find. So that further bolsters our argument that today you are only out there to attack. The third and the final thing, Nidhi, is this entire Operation Lotus which is playing out in Delhi. People are seeing how BJP is buying opposition leaders and forming governments. They tried the same with Mr. Sisodia, only to know what metal Aam Aadmi Party leaders are born with. They were asked to please go back.
It is your part to divert the issue.
And win votes and defeat AAP rather than trying to buy the leaders of AAP. And this is what the people of Gujarat are seeing today.
Let me ask Rohan Gupta though the last question. I'm very curious. Why do you all keep calling AAP the B team of the BJP? I mean, look at how the agencies are going after their leaders. As much as they're going after yours, by the way. So, is that B team argument still relevant?
Absolutely, Nidhi. See, there is a difference here. When you talk about agencies going after Aam Aadmi Party, there are clear-cut evidences against their policy in Delhi, why they had withdrawn their policy if nothing was wrong. And when you see Congress Party, there are no evidences.
Yeah, but you can't say there's no evidence against the Congress, but there's evidence against either the agencies are doing it at the behest of the BJP or they're not.
Absolutely, absolutely. Nadi, there is absolutely no substance. Let me complete. I was not speaking in between. Let me complete.
Sure, Rohan.
So we have given the evidences for all the cases about National Radar or whatever. There are absolutely 8 years case, which was there is no FIR also, and they have reopened the case and they are trying to call our leaders and all. It is quite visible. And the other important thing, you see Goa, you see Uttarakhand, who has been BJP benefited by? It is Aam Aadmi Party. Goa or Uttarakhand, both the states, if Aam Aadmi Party is not there, Congress would have definitely won. So at the end of the day, but Gujarat is a different state. The strategy of BJP of indirectly supporting Aam Aadmi Party is going to boomerang in Gujarat. Because Gujarat is predominantly urban state, it is not a rural state. And Congress is very, very strong in rural state. We have 77 MLAs and majority of them are from rural area. So I think it is going to be very interesting, and as 2017, this time also you will see that Congress is going to do excellent, and we were left with power, just 10-12 seats we were short of power. This time we are going to overcome.
All right. Well, it will be an interesting election for sure. Thanks very much to all of you for joining us for that sort of bigger perspective on what Gujarat could possibly look like. Thanks very much. Now, in the midst of all of this, we've also seen the Congress preparing for its big Bharat Jodo Yatra that's supposed to start from the 7th of September. And in an unusual move, Rahul Gandhi also reached out to members of civil society this week asking for their support in this Bharat Jodo Yatra. And amongst those whose support he sought was Yogendra Yadav, who is joining us on the program now. And it's interesting, Yogendra Yadav, that you were there in that meeting with Rahul Gandhi and you have, I believe, extended your support to this yatra because I think it was after the last Lok Sabha election that you had said that the Congress must die. If you remember, you got so much backlash for it from the Congress. So what changed your mind?
Nidhi, it's not about Rahul and me. Allow me to put it in the larger perspective. We are living in an extraordinary situation where what is at stake is not just democracy in our country. What is at stake is the very existence of India as we have known it. And at this time, large number of organizations, movements, they believe that this is the moment for the entire country to come together. And for this reason, all kinds of discussions have been taking place. In the last 1 week, there have been two very important meetings. One that was held on the 19th of August, which was called by Shri G.G. Parekh, one of the most respected freedom fighters, in which Medha Patkar, Ali Anwar, Tushar Gandhi, all of them, and Justice Patil participated. I was there as well. And yesterday, a meeting which 8 of us invited, which 8 of us were signatories. Aruna Roy, Medha Patkar, Devanur Mahadev, Ganesh Devi, and P.V. Rajgopal. All of us were and Saida Hamid, all of us were invitees. These are large number of people's movements which came together, deliberated yesterday on the issue of whether we should extend support to Congress on their Bharat Jodo Yatra. And we were all unanimously of the opinion that this, given the present situation, Bharat Jodo is an imperative, and therefore we extend welcome and support.
So you're saying it's about supporting an idea and it's about supporting a cause, not about supporting a political party as such.
Absolutely, Nidhi. And tomorrow, if any other party were to come up with similar, stronger program, which actually contributes to nation building and saving the country at this moment, why should we not support that as well?
What do you think?
It's not about individuals.
But what do you think of the idea itself politically? I mean, given your analysis of the way the Congress has sort of, been on this self-destruct mode for years now, which is what prompted you to say that it must die at that time. Do you think that this is exactly what the Congress needs to do in order to capture the imagination of the public, or is it too late for that?
I'm not into what would help the Congress party.
But you've been a cephalogist.
Right now.
Yeah, sure, but as an analyst.
The country right now. Nidhi, at this moment remember, we live in a country where rapists and murderers are being felicitated. They are being offered mala. They are being welcomed. We live in a country where everyone is going down and 2 persons in this country are going up and up and up. I hope we will be able to name those 2 people in the channels in times to come. This is the moment at which people are saying, at this moment, nothing else matters. You just have to create a sense of unity. And if Congress party takes the initiative in bringing this country together by way of a yatra, it helps the country. Whether it helps Congress electorally or not, that's for Congress to think. But to my mind, the reason why people like me join, Medha Patkar supports it, Aruna Roy supports it, all these people who have distinguished track record of working for the country, if they support it, it is not because they are into electoral calculus of one party or one leader or anyone's popularity. This is about somehow saving this country. And nothing short of that is at stake, Nidhi. And anyone who thinks that 2024 is going to be an ordinary election, which is only about changing governments, clearly doesn't understand where we have reached in this country's history. And that is what prompts people like me into saying that we prioritize this over everything else.
All right. Well, let's see how it does play out politically as well, because that is important, and the Congress is also still grappling with its leadership crisis, which I think that, they're still not able to resolve at the moment. Thanks very much, Yogendra Yadav, for joining us tonight. And that's it on the program this evening. We'll see you again tomorrow. Goodbye.